Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
What do you get when you mix two white boys, both named Mike? A thing for Justin Timberlake and a piercing above your eye. Was he high? Their stories alone could make you cry. That's when you want to make your Irish goodbye.
It is really funny because, and I know we're recording and this is okay to discuss publicly, but I really am hard on my hair. Like I'm looking in the bathroom. I look like a disheveled mess. I'm like, I need a haircut. Like, got to keep it tight, all that stuff. And now I feel like it's fine.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, I
in a day or two.
I think
it'll be rough.
No, but you're always like, oh, I got to get it cut and everything. But it's like, I think the length actually suits you because the more it comes out, as you can see, if we can zoom in on Mike's, right on like where the widow peak area kind of is, look how there's still dark hair trying to come out. But when you keep it that short, you only have the grays visible.
There's
you should
youth
grow
in there somewhere.
You should grow it longer. And then that way, more of the whatever's left of the brown will still come out.
What am I going to be, the fucking tan from Queer Eye?
Possibly.
I guess, but I don't know. There's just something about it. Everybody has the same haircut. I just don't.
But the other problem is you're also doing a podcast with somebody who has hair on a level of which no mere mortal should have to be compared.
That's why I've shaved it. Because I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna go belly to belly with this fucking piece of shit. I might as well get a cool.
That's what Harrington did. Harrington just fucking stared himself.
Oh, is that why? That's why he's bald. He started in the middle.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to another episode of Irish Goodbye Podcast, a storytelling podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Feeney, being joined with me as always
by Michael Shane Cannon.
And I got myself a theory that I'd love to kick by you.
Why not? We're a theory podcast.
Yeah, we are. We're recording another episode with Big Harrington behind the wheel.
Yeah, we got Chet Rigatone. That's
yeah.
He's Frank's cousin. I picked Chet because it's like the older brother from Weird Science meets Frank Rigatone's cousin. All right.
I thought he would have a...
I thought anybody would have fun with that.
I let the floor to him.
Yeah.
You wanted to speak? I brought my dumb face on camera, and that was, I thought, enough.
Well, here's the thing. You're very sweet because you're clearly beaten to just a less than worthy, whatever. But yeah, we were
confident in our producers in this show. So much confidence that they leave us.
They fucking fly away and become an on-air personality themselves with 17 podcasts.
Nope, just keep me shackled to this desk.
All right, you know what? I like that attitude.
Yeah,
Harrington. You're on full time.
Yeah. So I have a theory about. Everyone talks about as you get older, right? They go, the time feels like it's moving faster.
Right.
That's what everyone says that's older. They go, oh, it gets faster as you grow older. And I think I've figured out why that is now. It's because when you're a kid, you wake up in the morning, your day is your own. You can go play with your friends. There's no schedules. There's nothing to do. And then it's like, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna have coffee. I'm gonna water the plants. I'm gonna do.
You meditate every morning?
Mm-hmm.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I didn't know that about you.
And
since when?
Probably like
right after the TikTok fight.
Yeah, that the next day I enrolled. No, I've been doing it since probably like right before the shoulder surgery. Essentially, only a few months.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I like it. But it is. So I'm doing that, and so basically, like the first hour that I wake up after.
Is that why you're growing a full Fu Manchu?
Yeah,
just so you could be more one with Buddha?
Yeah, putting my feet in the blades of grass as I return to.
Oh my God! Which quick thing on that?
What?
We were walking through Washington Square Park yesterday, and we saw some absolute yuppie shit dick that makes minimum $400,000 a year walking around on the concrete of Washington Square Park with his fucking shoes in his hand, acting as if he's grounding himself to the earth. Like he's like connecting to Mother Nature. It's like, no, dude, you're actually stepping in human shit and getting hepatitis.
You're connecting yourself to a used needle.
Yeah.
Literally,
we walked into that bathroom and I mean, it couldn't have looked more like the Ninja Turtles lair.
It was awful.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is the first hour of my day is essentially accounted for every time I wake up. So already an hour a day is gone, right? And then before I go to bed, it's just like, you got to take the dog out for a walk. You got to, shut everything down, brush your teeth, wash your face, do all that stuff. And so, like, I think it's not that life gets faster as we get older. I think as we get older, we have more things that pile up to the beginning and the end of our days that make just that middle part. It's smaller and smaller until you're like, now I only got, and especially, obviously, I can't even imagine having a kid where you're like, now I have the first 3 hours and the last 4 hours, you really only have these. We find that we
it's like bowling with bumpers.
Yeah, it's just adding, but the bumpers are getting wider and wider with our responsibilities. Yeah, no, wider. They're coming. They're
coming in. The lane
is getting narrower. Yeah.
Yes.
Is it more narrow?
Narrower, narrowest. Either way, it's skinny.
So I think that's my hypothesis.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think responsibility has something to do with it. I think days can seem both wildly short and super long when you have a kid. It just kind of depends what you're doing. Now that I'm working so much and not just doing stand-up, but doing all of this stuff and making all these videos and, doing a lot of, just everything. It's like the moments that I have with him are so brief that it makes me sad. Like it bums me out.
Yeah.
It makes me almost, yearn for the time of lockdown when we were with each other for 24 hours a day, which I, of course, knew was going to eventually come.
Yeah.
But it's like, it is this weird, having a kid is a complete time warp fuck up because your understanding of how time processes is just shattered and a new thing introduces itself, because now, like I said, you also have he's growing and being different every single day. So you're just almost stunned that time is real.
Yeah.
When you're looking in the mirror, after looking at old pictures, I can see the growth, but every single day I'm just looking at my dumb face. Right. And now that I have a actual time capsule, living, breathing time capsule in front of me, it makes time that much more tangible. And it throws you into a complete loop of doubt and reality and craziness. It's insane.
That's fun.
I summed this up on Are You Garbage? I just did that, and I threw it at Henry, and I think he almost had a heart attack because
don't you dare push him to that edge.
No, it took a little fingertip.
Yeah.
But
you're gonna take his
because he was like, when you're a kid, the summer seems so long, and I was like, well, you have to consider also you're alive for a much shorter amount of time. So 3 months to a 4-year-old is like a quarter of their life,
100%.
or whatever, or a bigger percentage of their life. And he's like, he just couldn't. Wow, what a great point.
I tried to say this as a joke one time, but for some reason it was coming off like dad jokey or popsicle stick humory, but it truly was I think just actual truth. I was like, I used to remember falling hurting a lot less, and then I'm like, it's probably because I was a lot closer to the ground when I fell. You know what I mean? So you're like, that's why things didn't hurt as much.
That's great.
Where now, I know, I would say that, and people are like, and I'm like, well, I guess I thought, are we out? Are we done forever? Is the show over?
That's the end of the show.
There's no camera? Oh, okay.
That's okay. We'll keep going.
But I thought that's not bad, right?
No, I think there's something to that. And there's
even if it's not funny, it's it's true.
And I've told this story where I think I was maybe 30, so this is probably 6 years ago when I was coaching soccer, and maybe even a little less. I don't know, whatever. But I hadn't fallen in a long time. You slip and you whatever and you trip, but you kind of catch yourself as an adult. There's very few drastic falls unless something went terribly wrong.
Yeah.
So I was coaching soccer and I'd play these 9-year-olds hard because not only were they good, they were cunts. Right. So I was going after them with everything I had. We played, we were explicitly told, and it was a company-wide ban not to do soccer dodgeball. But I brought that back to the company with fiery rage.
Yeah.
Only because it would give me an opportunity to take my aggression out on children that didn't listen to me.
Sure.
So most of the classes obviously took place outside, but during the winter they'd come into their school's gymnasium and we'd play full court indoor soccer, which is so much fun. It's completely different than being outside. It feels a bit hockey-ish. You know what I mean? Because you can bang it off the wall and do a two-touch pass to yourself. It's cool. And so I was playing against these kids, and it's out on 50th and Avenue P, out in Bensonhurst, real fucking far in Brooklyn. But it's a beautiful, brand new school. These kids are rich, and they would tell me about it every single day. It was infuriating. And so this one kid slide tackled me while we were playing a full court thing. And I remember like jumping in what would have been like either a graceful fall or kind of like a, stumble, and I'd get up or I'd catch myself on my feet in my athletic days. And as the kid slide tackled me, I launched into the air. And as I got in the air came the realization that I was over 30. And I was like, oh no. And I saw the kid also right underneath me and stay underneath me and look like this as I'm falling. So I just turned my back and landed on my hip and like rear ribs and couldn't walk for 4.5 days. Like just, I as soon as I hit the ground, I was like, that's different. Like just totally like, I thought I'd be able to pop back up.
I was like you when you tried to get the kite.
Yeah, exactly. It's the exact same thing. Oh my God, I almost forgot about that injury and you just brought it rushing back to my lungs. I'm surprised I didn't like break a rib and it punctured my lungs or something.
Might have bruised a rib.
I definitely did. But this was like, it was one of those things where I was like, he's underneath, avoid. And then I hit. I was like, I'll pop back up. Surely I'm still 15.
Yeah.
And I went to move and I was like, oh, whoa. Like the whole structural integrity of my skeleton has been compromised.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never fully recovered from that. It's why I won't do certain things.
My last two
Unless
falls.
it's grabbing my snowboard while I'm doing a sweet rail.
My last two big falls were, Erica was witness for both of them, which was the one where I was playing with Jeet in the garage, and I had like the slip-on shoes, and I started running backwards while he was, and then fell and fucking shattered my wrist into 1,000 pieces. And then the other one was when we were on this cruise ship, and I had flip-flops on, and we were standing in like the back of the boat while it was moving or something, and my hat like flew off my head because of the wind. Like we turned a corner and the wind was showing. My hat was for some reason I fucking loved it. I used to always wear this hat.
Yeah. This
hat went flying off my head and it started like beelining it down the deck like it was gonna go off the ship. So I start running after it, and as I run, I like my planting foot of my heel of the flip-flop that had well-worn treads goes on just the smallest amount of water, and I slip and fall back and just like crack my head onto the hardwood of the chip, and Erica comes like running over, like slides on both of her knees and cradles my head. It's like, oh my God, she thought that I was gonna be
unconscious,
unconscious, bleeding. Like the sound of it and the full snapback nature of it was dramatic, and we had to go down to do concussion tests and all that.
No shit.
Yeah, I went down to like the bowels of the thing to see if there was. Yeah, it was just a full. But that one was one of those things when you hit your head when you're like, that's gonna be bad.
Well, that's how I felt when I hit you doing Mach 7 down the fucking slope. And I had no ability to stop. And I was wearing a helmet. And it was the most rattling thing to my skull I've ever experienced. I thought I Natasha Richardson the shit out of myself.
Hey fans, support for Irish Goodbye Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world.
Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0.
You heard right, the 4.0. Join the over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code IRISH
at manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com. Guys, listen, we're going off script. We don't need to read what the talking points that Manscaped gave us because we have personal experience with this product. Listen, I've been shaving my balls since I've grown pubes, which is wildly ironic considering the long wait that it took to get them.
Right.
But if you don't want to do it with your mom or your wife or whoever, their little pink single strip razor that nicks up your bag and it looks like a brand new, it looks like Freddy Krueger's face by the end of it.
Yeah.
You don't. This is what you got to get. You can fade it up. You can do, my dick right now, dude, looks like a Puerto Rican haircut.
Yeah, mine looks like Kid from House Party.
It's what?
Kid from House Party.
Can I see it?
Yeah, it's got a little high top.
Now I'm trying to picture what you have. So do you have
Do you have a kids thing in a single out, like it's going out to also go with your dick, or is it up?
It's
like a Marge Simpson and 3 Ds off
yes,
your pubis.
it's like a short Marge Simpson, which is like kid from House.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a landing strip meets hip hop.
Yes,
a hip hop landing
with
strip
some 3D. Yeah. When you guys should land on this deal, because I got to tell you, it is. I mean, they send us a package. It is a care package. Everything. I mean, it's so great.
I'm
it's
wearing
smooth.
them.
Yeah,
I'm wearing them.
These Manscaped underwear.
I've been wearing them for
the
3 days.
I don't even think that's on here to sell, but it is it's some of the best underwear that I've ever had. So again, you guys, we can't emphasize this enough. They sent us this package long before they were a sponsor, and I've been using them ever since, and I won't go back to using anything else. So again, if you guys want 20% off and free shipping, just use the code IRISH at manscaped.com.
That's manscaped.com. Code IRISH, 20% off, free shipping worldwide, baby. Unbelievable. Use it. Back to the show.
Harrington, you're good over there? Everything's okay with all this stuff? I see you were making phone calls and panic producing.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just aren't gonna have a monitor. You're gonna have to rely on.
But it's still recording
stories.
But it's recording. Okay, but that's. I mean, I meant like visually, as long as it's still there.
Stories. I feel like there was a bit of sarcasm.
No, I'm just saying you don't have any visual stuff that you guys are going to be able to look up. If you need me to, I could pull it up for the audience, and you guys could theater the mind it for yourselves.
That's right. Okay. Now let me ask you this, Harrington. Right now, obviously, you're not in the best shape of your life, but you're coming off an injury. Before, like a couple months ago, you were though, right? Yeah. Best shape of your life. Did getting hit hurt less, even though you're older, in the best shape of your life, or when you were younger?
I don't know, dude.
It's gotta be younger.
I legitimately fought a guy over a Citi bike yesterday, and my hand is killing me.
Fought a guy.
Fist fought a guy.
What? All right. Well, now this will be the show. So
I mean, I forgot.
How do you fight somebody over a Citi bike? You scan it. You have a specific.
But is there anything that made more sense coming out of him visually?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever looked at?
He's talking about bum fights.
Look
yes,
at him.
yes.
He is the white Kimbo Slice.
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, explain this, please.
Well, I showed up to I showed up to the Citi bike docking station. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I was walking up to an electric bike. Some guy parks an electric bike that I guess was like broken or the battery wasn't working. And as I'm walking up to scan the QR code on the bike, he goes, "I saw that first. I'm taking that bike." I was like, "Well, that's simply not how this works, sir. Like,
this is an adult city."
Right. So I have my phone out. I go to scan a QR code. He says that's not happening. Goes to grab for my phone and then puts his hand over the QR code so I couldn't scan it.
Oh, you fucked that guy up immediately.
I was like, well, no, I didn't. I tried to be as calm and cool as I could, right? He then puts his hands on the handlebars so that I wouldn't be able to take it even if I did scan it.
That's when I would take my key and stab the tire and go, now no one goes anywhere. Game over.
Where is he positioned? Like, are you on the opposite side of the bike as each other? The bike is in the middle?
Yeah, so I started on the left-hand side. He went around me to the right-hand side of the bike and put his hands on the handlebars.
So he's hoping for a tug-of-war where he's victorious. Size, race, gender.
White, male, about my age, maybe, I don't know, 30 pounds less than me. Something like that.
Oh, nice. So you probably gave him the ocular assessment. You're like, if need be, I can dominate this person physically.
Well, like, he immediately went there, right? He was like, are you willing to fight me over this bike?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like,
how old did you say he was?
About my age, maybe a little bit younger.
Did he look?
So he's desperate as well.
Did he have cauliflower ear? Did he have any sort of visible fight technique that's showing?
I mean, just the quickness with which he went to, like, I will fight you tells me that, like, this guy has been in a bunch of fights or is like a routine bully who, like, banks on that fight club.
Right.
Like,
yes.
You guys have never been in a fight. I can use
the old Nick Turner model. Where if you've listened to this podcast, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
If people don't want to get in a fight, they're not going to fight.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So that was essentially the logic I think he brought into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I, have been training for, a little over a year now. Like, I'm not walking around like it's some tough guy.
You must have got excited that almost. Even as much as nobody really wants to fight, I think you must have got excited where you're like, all this, I can finally put this into good use.
Like, I can't believe my good fortune.
This is a fantasy.
I'm about to fight somebody over a fucking city bike.
No headgear? No nothing? No gloves?
I can call you Lewis?
Yeah. So yeah, how'd it get there?
So I mean,
He covers up he grabs the handlebars, covers up the QR code.
right. So we're eventually we have this tug of war. I'm telling him to fuck off at this point. Like I'm just fully cursing at him, being like, he puts his forehead up against mine.
No.
And like tries to do crazy eyes at me, like, and I was like, dude, I'm not the one. You know what I mean? Like I'm not intimidated by you even a little bit. Like this should be an indicator.
Yeah. Yo, you are like the fucking gun to your head. Pull it, pussy. Pull the trigger. Like you are the.
I'm like trying.
It's like Deer Hunter. You know. Screaming, and he's like, okay, take the bike.
This seems like my dream come true a little bit too, and I'm finding myself at a lot. Like I can't believe he put his fucking forehead against your forehead.
I can't believe you also let him get to the point where his forehead got that close to you.
I'm surprised you didn't check him right there. That's breach of space. That's crazy.
I really didn't want to be the one to throw the first punch.
Sure.
Right? Like
that means you have good training.
Yeah.
You're not using it maliciously.
Right. Like if I had good training, honestly, I'd probably walk away at some point in this, but it was just like, I don't know, there's like a switch flipped in me at some point during training where it's like, I'm not going to be intimidated by just assholes on the street in New York anymore. Like I have at least enough self-defense techniques where it's like I can walk through something with my head held high. And like this guy just felt like he was testing me every step of the way. And I was like, I simply cannot let this go.
So he goes, not to mention, like you're a hardworking guy that eats a fair amount of shit doing this job.
Yeah.
So taking shit here where you're being compensated for it makes a lot of sense. Then when the outside world tries to serve you a plate of shit on a silver platter,
then it just turned into falling down with Mike Harrington. It just comes out with fucking 2 pistols, like here it comes.
Somebody needs to make that Photoshop of Harrington falling down over a city bike with some guy forehead to forehead.
Eventually,
your forehead to forehead.
So, I'm like, this is absolute abject craziness at this point, right? Like I'm telling him I'm not going to back down. And I go to peel his hand off of the handlebars. Cause I'm like, this is not happening. I'm going to peel your hands off. I'm going to scan this thing. I'm going to ride this bike away.
That's when the throw comes and you better be ready to block, right?
So instead, as I'm peeling his hands off, he just immediately goes like hands up and starts coming at me. And I'm like, well, you put your hands up.
That's it.
I'm in a fight now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, whether you accept it or not, like whether this might be instinct for you, you put me in a fight now. So I threw a couple of feints at him, right? Just like shoulder checks, enough where I got him to overswing the right. And I just, back up and I uncorked a big right.
Where'd you touch him? Where'd you get him?
Right in the eye.
Yeah! We got this coffee at the wrong time.
Just immediately just shot to the eye. The first one, and I could see his head whips back and he's like, oh shit, I'm in.
This guy knows how to fight.
Right. So I follow up with just a little jab that I don't think connected. Like I think it was just enough to get me wound up. Yeah, wound up for the next one. And I just uncork a right hook to the side of his temple. And he's just like,
imagine you killed him.
He just hits his head on the way down like it's fucking $1 million baby. You're like,
yeah,
connects to the temple. He's just instant eyes fixed.
Yeah, Harrington just rides the bike over his body.
So I felt him start to wobble a little bit, and I grabbed the back of his neck, right, and I'm I'm now holding him. I got my hand ready. I can keep hockey punching him if I want to. Right. And I make it clear to him, I'm good with this. Right. I will let you go if you let me go. We do not need to keep fighting. Right?
Yeah.
At this point, another bystander comes by and he's like, yo, he's telling you he'll let you go. Just let him go, man.
Yeah.
To the other guy.
And what's he saying or doing while you're
fuck
holding?
You, pussy.
Yeah.
Fuck you. It's always the person who's losing the fight.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
It was a lot more of the second, what Feeney was doing with the. Yeah, there's just crazy grunts and growls and trying to still crazy eye me like he's gonna do something, right?
So he's a blowfish,
right? Essentially,
yeah.
Right. So eventually, I let him go. He lets me go, right? And I'm thinking this is over.
And also, I'd be so afraid to let him go because the second you let him go, I feel like he can just turn around and wallop.
Up again. Yeah.
So I was cautious of that, right? I let him go, but I still I kept.
You have to throw them off you. You know what I mean?
Also, then walk back to the bike.
Yeah,
because you can't lose the main objective.
Yeah, you're trying to get your face ID while he's staring at him. You're like,
That's also one of those okay things where you're like, you know what? I don't need the bike anymore. I'll run.
Yeah.
I'm so fired up. I'll sprint to Brooklyn.
Yeah, just Tom Cruise chop hands.
So, you know, I let him go. And like I said, yeah, just hands up. I'm still like keeping my eyes trained on him. The motherfucker turns around, right? He's like mad that he just lost the fight. His headphones are like, you know, dragging on the ground. He's pissed off. He goes over and kicks my backpack. And I'm like, well, now fuck you, right?
Yeah.
So I run up behind him and I just push him like, you know, like you should not be doing this. Like you've already gotten your ass kicked. Like it's, I gave you a pass, right?
Does he fall when you push
He
him?
goes head first into a car.
So yeah, he starts going down on the push. He turns around and grabs like my tank top, right? And drags the momentum of him going down, now drags me down with him.
So now you're on a ground and pound situation.
Oh my God.
Exactly, right? Which is where like, you know, I have like scrapes.
This is
and
where you make your money.
I have scrapes and cuts all over my elbow
fuck.
thanks to that. Like that was the part that really sucked, just wrestling on concrete, right? But I did get myself in a position where, again, like I'm on top of him and I could just start grounding and pounding the shit out of him. And instead, I'm like, I'm going to let you go. I need you to chill the fuck out, right?
Should've got one more.
I'd just be rubbing my blood all over his face.
Yeah, that's a good position where you're like, you just start mushing your fucking forearm into their face and nose.
That would have been nice. But at this point, like I had an audience, right? There was legitimately like
People are filming at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean this is on World Star of homeless kicks the shit out of young professional.
Yeah.
dude, literally the two of us could not have looked more homeless. Right?
Yeah.
Like
What was he wearing?
he just gray
A
t-shirt.
Canadian headband.
Yeah. Just freedom fighter versus the Canuck.
Just gray t-shirt and like I don't know, the gym shorts. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
typical like guy out riding a bike on an afternoon. So you know, and then as right like there's other people there. I go to get up and let him go, right? And as I'm getting up, right, he like reaches for my cell phone, which fell out of my pocket like during the exchange, and I'm like, I go to wrestle that out of his hand, and he goes to put me in a fucking guillotine. Like he legitimately
No
tries to
shit.
choke me out. And I take like 2 more big shots at the body, and then like get just enough distance where I can shove him off. And again, he's on the ground, and I'm like, I could really start fucking hurting you now. And all the bystanders around at this point were like, this guy is...
The guillotine is what Connor had on Dustin, right? So it's headlock.
Yeah, like
almost like a DDT, but he's trying to choke you out.
Right, and like if this went his way, he would have essentially just DDT'd my forehead
Jesus
on the
Christ,
pavement, which would have been a real problem for me.
for everybody.
So how did you get out of that? You just hit him in the stomach or the ribs?
Yeah, I took 2 big body shots at him, and that got like just enough distance where I was able to just shove him off, and again sent him back down to the ground. And he's looking up at me like I could just pounce on you again, but at this point there was like just a ring of bystanders who were like, "Please stop this, both of you." And they're talking.
Both of you. I want to fuck these people. I want to fuck the bystanders up. It's like, how about any of you cowards actually stand between me and the person who continues to attack me, even though I get the best of him every time?
Yeah.
So at one point they were like, this guy has given you like multiple chances. Like you need to fuck off to like the other guy.
Yeah.
And he just like wandered off like angry, like skulking. His headphones were broken. Like all my shit was fine. Put all my stuff back in my pockets. Walk up to
Your
the bike.
phone wasn't broken or
Phone
anything?
wasn't broken. Vape wasn't broken.
The weird thing is, he's the producer of Your Mom's House, and he's currently telling this story.
Yeah, but I got the bike, which means by definition I won the fight.
Now,
So-
when you got on the bike, were you afraid as you started driving away he was going to fucking tackle you off it or throw a stick in the spokes or something like that?
No, at this point I watched him like walk down like towards the far end of the bicycles, just like cursing and muttering to himself. So I was like,
Yeah.
I broke this.
And I
fight.
mean, your heart must have been like a Metallica bass drum. Like I can feel it for you because, you know, after any kind of instance like that where you're so jacked up and you want to fucking scream at somebody, that just reverberates in my cage, dude. Like I can feel it.
There was a bit of that, but it was like honestly way less so than like I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
You know, like it's to the
Good
point,
for you.
dude. I fight Lewis, who's way bigger than this guy, like twice a week. So
Right.
Getting into
So you're not scared of getting hit, which is the primary deterrent for most people to get into a fight.
right, like even the adrenaline wore off to the point where as I was riding the bike over the bridge, I was like, oh yeah, I might have fucked my hand up.
So now how you feeling today?
My hand is killing me. Like just
That
hitting
from
him.
the impact of the face.
Yeah, just hitting him
Oh.
so many times hurt my hand with bare
Yeah.
knuckles. So,
Imagine how he's feeling.
yeah, probably not that great.
You know, also I just realized the beautiful irony in all of this while he's telling this is that he's speaking on producer mic, and
Right.
there's a lot of like background noise happening with whatever else is
Which
going on in
usually
the other
is
thing,
us.
which is usually the reverse, where we're in a Harrington's recording BYM in here or whatever it is, and I am and we are yelling to Alex about how Harrington's got to shut the fuck up, which is then causing a Bisping war. And now we have Harrington on our side telling our story, and there's something noise going on the other side.
Show happening.
Yeah, and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
It's just loud.
I don't even
loud
know.
Socializing.
It's just, but again,
I'm now team BYM over IGP.
on studio BYM.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, good for you, man. That's awesome. Stood up for yourself. You handled your goddamn business like a man. They're also. And I mean, this is like summer, so it's like the 50 Cent line about murder. It's hot out in this bitch. That's a good enough reason. It's like there's so much pent up rage and
pandemic rage and like Delta variant lockdown coming kind of.
Oh my God, dude. The other day, I'm sitting in Tivoli's. I think I may have been, who was I eating with? Oh, I was eating by myself, actually. And
forgettable person.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5. Well, I forget if somebody was there or not. I was just looking into my own brain.
Yeah.
But there's like 4 other people maybe in the entire diner. And I'm standing there and I just see like 2 dudes start to get into a fight outside. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Or I thought he was pulling them away from a fight. And it was very clearly friends at first because it was a guy pulling a guy away from something. And then those 2 started fighting.
Oh, no.
And then, but it was like the 2 whitest white boys that didn't want to get hit, have never thrown a punch. Like it was the quintessential, like.
But that's why you can't. That's why you can't get into the middle of somebody else's fight because you'll catch an elbow.
Of
so
course.
I don't blame the bystanders for not trying to get in the middle of Harrington's thing.
I do still by saying both of you stop. It's like, no, focus your rage on this fucking dipshit. I'll be on your team if you guys help me neutralize this situation. Because what happened with these guys, they were like, pussyfooting and chesting up to each other and shoving. And the littlest guy was like super confident, like really confident. And the big guy was like kind of not doing
hey man,
shit.
maybe the big guy just had shoulder surgery and can't throw punches
It's
now.
It's not that, because that guy was
arm.
jacked. Because then when at some point they like fisted up to each other or whatever, like went belly to belly, the little guy just like twisted the big guy and like put his arm behind his back. And I was like,
What?
oh, that guy's trained. Like immediately was like, that dude knows how to fight. Pretty intense. Wow. They separate. They came back together. I got up and I'm just watching from the door. Everybody in the diner got up and started watching from the window. It's like, New York is back. This is excellent.
Yeah.
And then it ended in the most preposterous way. I've never seen a fight end like
kissing?
this. Kinda. So what, you know how like you've seen fights where it's, it's the Rocky and Apollo thing where they both connect and then they're down together and they knock each other out. It was that, except with spit. They both spit in each other's faces at the exact same time and hit each other in the face.
And then just like, we're like, okay.
Then they separated and I was like, that's like pulling out a gun in the COVID era. That's crazy. Except it's not an immediate death. It's almost like a see you in a week. Let's see how you live up. Let's see how that back tests out.
Dude, I think I'm going to create a viral video. You know how that's like, you watch all these videos.
Create a viral video for advertising?
Where they go, nope. Where they just go, those things where they go, like obviously fake or whatever the fuck. But I guarantee this would go viral if somebody did it. If we made, and I know exactly how you shoot this too. You do it like that. Like it's as if a pedestrian filming, catching a fight. You start it in the middle of a fight, have people screaming, chest pumping, maybe that kind of a thing. And then they can even do a couple punches or whatever. And then they just start passionately making out at the end of it. And then the phone just cuts off and goes down. Yeah, let's do it. And
for the podcast.
The phone cuts off and goes down, and everyone will be like, even if they're like, what the fuck was that? What happened? Ew,
aren't those 2 married?
Yeah. That would, I guarantee, go mega viral. Maybe not for the right reasons, but that's it. And then we'll be famous. And
I
guess how it works now.
We should be wearing Irish Goodbye merch.
Yeah.
At the same
just subtle.
Time. Just while we're I don't know if I could handle your mustache, to be honest, because I do.
It's a delightful ride.
I bet it's nice, but I do notice that like you're fully into it. This is a perma stash. It's no longer.
I don't know what's going. It just keeps growing.
It's an awning over your lips.
Well, I'm trying to keep it maintained. I usually trim right on the top lip here, so I don't want it to crest over. Because there's nothing worse than when you have like a wet mustache curling into your mouth. So I keep it kind of, but it is.
Nicole used to call me Catfish Cannon because I'd have two hairs that kind of came out of each corner of my mouth.
What it is doing is it's getting like 3D, like it's growing out now because it's getting bushier. So I don't know. At some point,
What does Erica think?
She actually doesn't. Even when I had the bad facial hair, like the beard I was trying to grow, she never minded it. She likes it because it's so different because she's only known me as clean shaven.
Insane how much women love us.
Yeah.
For who we are.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
I think for her,
Nicole
it's just like
her hair bad, I'd be like divorced.
But I think it's easier for her because she's just like, it's just easier to picture somebody else now when I close my eyes.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that's what you got to think about it like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she liked my blonde hair so much.
100%, dude. It had nothing to do with you. You were just a fucking meat stick.
Nothing but a vessel.
Yeah,
For her to
absolutely.
Picture Jared Leto in Fight Club.
Yeah, like a Jared Leto, like in between
she just
movies.
Covers my eyes and my hair, and it's just like, all right, that's enough. That's enough to get me sopping.
It's. I don't know
what's enough to get me sopping.
What's that?
All these 5-star reviews.
Oh, go check them out, guys. Thank you for leaving us a 5-star review. We love each and every one of you who listen every week, who've listened since the beginning. We are the Sopranos of podcast, so you should be listening. We have over 230-something episodes of stuff for you to listen to, which is great. You can hear the whole catalog on gasdigitalnetwork.com. You can use that code IGP, and you get access to all that and all the bonus content and stuff. And it also gives you a discount to podcastmerch.com, which you don't even need to sign up for Gas Digital in order to go there. You can buy a t-shirt. You can buy a hoodie. You can support the show in that way. Send us an email. Follow us on social media. Follow us both on social media. Mike Feeney Comedy, at I am Mike Feeney, at I am Mike Cannon, MikeFeeneyComedy.com, MikeCannonComedy.com. We got plenty of dates coming up, which I think, I'm just trying to think about when this episode's going to come out.
It's live next Thursday on the 29th.
So it'll come out on this August 2nd. So this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Mohegan Sun, Connecticut, Comics Roadhouse. 4 shows. Come out. Come party in a casino, hang out. I'll be bringing Casey Balsham. It'll be very fun. Would love to see you guys there. And then next week after that, August 11th, Soul Joel's. Come to Soul Joel's. By the time, I guess we'll get to promote it one more time. But yeah, come out to Soul Joel's. Myself, Mike Cannon, Brendan Sagalo. We're doing stand-up. We're doing some Here's a Scenario. We have special guests, special friends coming by. This place seats like 400 people in this giant dome where tickets are actually moving surprisingly well. So that's great. So
not surprising to me. I've always believed in you guys.
Sure. So come on out to Royersford, PA if you're in there, and come support that. Also, while you're there, maybe to prime yourself, check out Here's a Scenario. .com and check out the podcast. We got it on iTunes. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/scenariopod, which we put up a bunch of bonus and exclusive stuff up there. So, I mean, there's really no way you shouldn't be able to support us. You can support us in many free avenues via our YouTube, subscribe to that, watching our comedy specials, social media, on my Twitch, TV/NYFreshmaker, or you can support other ways. Gas Digital Network, the Patreon. Just check us out. All of it helps. We love each and every one of you. Everybody who's taken any time out at all to been like, hey, I'm leaving this 5-star review. Hey, just wanted to say I really enjoy the podcast. Hey, I just want all of that. It's never lost on us how much it makes us happy that there are people out there whose day we make brighter with a little levity.
That's exactly right. I feel like I have nothing to add. That's great. Oh, I do have dates. MikeCannonComedy.com for dates. This week, if you're listening live on the Thursday, this week, July 30th, 31st, I'm in Spokane, Washington, baby. Might be still tickets available. Who knows? I'm doing a heavy push. So buy tickets to that. Trying to sell out all 4 shows. August 11th, like I said, Royersford, like Feeney said, Royersford, PA. That's Jersey, PA, Philadelphia, any of the surrounding areas. Come out to that. It is going to be a worthwhile spectacle. Very excited. Then August 27th and 28th, I'll be on Long Island, first night, Bohemia, New York, second night at my papa's hometown, Levittown. And then in September, I think I'm going to be running out to LA for a little bit. Going to be doing a little bit of a podcast jaunt. So hit me up. Let me know who you want me to see, what show you want to see me on.
I was going to go out there in September.
Let's both go out. Yeah. That'll be great. Excellent. Let's time that together. That makes the most sense. And then after that, October, we got Columbus, Ohio, McHenry, Illinois, and then Chicago, Illinois. Of course, Skankfest in November. Got Portsmouth, New Hampshire in November, and more coming in. Potential Boston date. Got Portland, maybe Portland, Maine coming in. There's a bunch of things up in the air, but get tickets to what is already solidly up there on MikeCannonComedy.com.
Harrington, where can people find you fighting the other homeless?
How has Lewis not started a backyard bare knuckle fight ring? No, that's it. All right,
He's out.
Harrington, we gave you as much airtime as we're ready, apparently, that we're ever going to give you. That's it. The microphone's off.
I guess it's like
All right.
I guess it's like an auto, too much of the producer engineer talking.
That's hilarious. Nice. Okay.
All right.
You've hit your allotted time. So I had that bum fight thing that I was talking about, but that wasn't really a bum fight. I will say this. I'm still recovering right now. When did I shoot that? It was like 3 days or 2 days ago. The other night, when was it when it was the most unhealthy air quality that New York
Tuesday.
has ever experienced? That was Tuesday?
Yeah.
Dude, me and Lucas, who shoots all of our stuff for Patreon, has been shooting all of my YouTube stuff lately. He's been shooting Mike Takes Edibles, which is available on YouTube and on the Patreon. We just shot one, which is a home run derby. And we're like 0 for a million in terms of checking the weather ahead of schedule. Like, never have done it, never prepared in any capacity. Just always ask what the activity is and how much milligrams are we taking. Let's have a good time. And then for the last 2 or 3, we've been in like inhumane weather.
Yeah, literally, they said do not go outside Tuesday. And if you do,
Especially if you have asthma.
they said if you have to be outside because of the potential health, they said it was as bad as being in Beijing, which is one of the most polluted places in the entire world. They said if you have to be outside, then for the love of God, wear a mask.
Right. I didn't. And dude, like, it had a very real effect on me.
Yeah, I believe it.
And not to mention, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been on an edible in the desert, but it's just...
I have not.
I wouldn't recommend it to those of you who are considering it.
Yeah.
Because it is...
Hear that, people at Burning Man? Don't take it.
Dude, oh yeah, actually that might be nice, but then you can go into like one of Facebook's fucking tour buses that they park right there on the playa.
Yeah.
It's hilarious how that used to be like where you found yourself, and now it's where Facebook goes to make ad buys.
Yeah.
So we're out at this field, and it's weirdly enough, it's the old place where we used to throw like keg parties in high school. Have you ever visited like the old spots where you thought you were hidden from the world in high school, like where you guys used to get away with shit?
A lot of that were in like most house parties, but I haven't been. I should go back to like those bike paths we used to go to, because those are like wedged. Like it was like a main road here, a main road here, and then the woods were like here. So it was
like 4 trees.
Yeah.
That's how it felt with this. So I'm like, it was on this baseball field, and I always remember in high school being like, this seems like a bad spot, but it was always like covered in the shroud of darkness, and we assumed the police never knew, even though it's been handed down generation to generation every single year. Nobody changed the party zone at all.
Right.
And while we were there, it kind of like, similarly when you go back to your high school and everything looks small, you just realize what a functional moron you were, because the only coverage is one strip of trees, and then you're just wide open to the streets, where of course any passerby officer, anybody who lived on the block, both heard and saw 150 17-year-olds doing keg stands and fist fight.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was kind of this weird time warp. I mean, just filming and being in Rockland has been an odd experience for me on that front. But we had a great time, except of course, this is now like the 3rd or 4th episode in a row where I have not been able to finish the activity because of God.
Right.
And, I'm just like, trying to like muscle through this. Even Lucas is like, you ready to smoke? And I'm like, I can't inhale more smoke. Like, I feel like I'm breathing in a t-shirt.
Right.
Like, it's not air, it's cloth going into my body, and then I'm trying to
that was all of the smoke from the fires, from the bootleg fire on the West Coast that came all the way across America and hit New York. It was, the sunset looked like Mars. It was like this really eerie. I couldn't see the skyline from my terrace. It was like bad.
I saw the coloring of the show, and it's kind of interesting because who knows if that'll happen again. I'm sure it will. The world's ending, but it did give the sky like this very eerie, weird look during the heat of the day too. So it's like white in spots, so the ball would get absolutely lost.
Yeah,
like, it was just a bizarre thing. But then like I'm in the car and I forget. I said this to Nicole last night, and she, I think, regretted marrying me. But Did you know you were using muscles when you were a kid? Like, did it dawn on you that you were being in shape or exercising even when you were playing?
That's why sports is the best exercise, because you don't versus when you're sitting on a bench press machine, you're like, okay, I have to activate these, and you're like, that's why the gym sucks, because that's why those things like CrossFit and those other kind of like group stuff like that, where you can kind of, or those boot camps things, where people are just kind of go do this. You don't realize, like, that's why I used to get so sore doing those like HIIT training stuff. Flip a tire or something. You get way more out of shape because you're using all the stabilizing muscles and all that other stuff, and and
it's active muscles.
Yeah,
it's just stuff that you're
it's
using
tasks.
To get about.
It's like you're doing tasks versus like, and now curl and curl and curl.
So I mean, it's never dawned on me harder since like raising the stakes of each activity up. So the soccer one we filmed, I hurt myself instantly. Like my knee clicked out of place.
The bad knee.
It was actually my good knee too, which is terrible. So
it's sad that you have a good knee.
I don't anymore. So don't be sad. But I felt it like click and pop and something, and I was like, oh shit, I hope that's not long term. It's since settled down, but who knows? It's probably a long residual injury that'll plague me for the rest of my life.
Sure.
And then I switched to lefty on the soccer kicks. I'm pretty sure I like either strained or tore my Achilles on my left foot. Obviously I didn't. I'm still moving around, but something happened back there, and that was bad for a couple days. And then this one, it's like everything was just play when I was a kid. I was just active. I was playing soccer. I was playing basketball. I was hitting the ball all the time, swinging nonstop. This entire side of my body is like, I thought I had cancer yesterday. Like I remember one of my friends who had cancer. The way they found out is they started to bruise on their side. So every once in a while, I'll like feel a pain, and I'm like, oh no, like is this stage 4? Like I'm just like I'm worried about it. But then I realized that I've just been swinging, like
torquing.
Yeah, I've been torquing my body in a way that I haven't.
Now the most common injury in baseball is the oblique, which sucks really? Too. Yeah, because of all the violent swings or even the pitching and stuff. So everyone is just like tearing obliques left and right or straining it. And it also takes them like, 4 to 6 weeks to come back from it too. They're also returning to a high level of competitive play. I think just for normal walking.
Well, Mike takes edibles is pretty high level.
And I told you the stuff that I want to do either one of two things with you with that. It's either going to be, track and field stuff, or I thought about this too, like a trampoline park thing and doing some sort of either into either like
expensive to stay there for 4 hours.
A dodgeball. No, once you just pay to go in. I think once you're in, it's or like the dodgeball on those trampoline parks and stuff like that.
That'd be fun. 1v1 or just bring some kids.
1v1 dodgeball is no fun at all. It's terribly boring. But if we can get like 3-on-3, that'd be a good time.
Yeah.
And you can just draft kids there. They're going to be children.
That's true. Yeah. All right. That sounds great. I'm definitely down for both of those. But right now I'm in so much pain.
Well, I'm also still healing.
So the night, we took 150 milligrams, and with that heat, the smog, everything felt like 9 million.
It was a terribly poor decision.
Real feel 99. Yeah. That's what it was.
Health-wise, it was a terrible decision.
And it's like, again, with the kid thing, like all my sports experiences from when I was a kid, even in high school and college, you could just kind of play through that shit. Like I remember playing in 100-degree outdoor weather for outdoor summer league basketball. It's like, that's just what I did. It doesn't dawn on me that your body deteriorates and ages and is no longer resilient enough to stand up to these outside forces. So I'm just like, having a tough time. I finally drive Lucas to the train station. I drive back. I had to drop off the balls and the bat at my buddy who let me borrow them because I don't have any of the shit. And then I drove home and I'm like into dadding and I'm like putting all of my reserve energy that I had left into that. And finally, crew goes to sleep. And I laid down and I watched Game 6 of the NBA Finals. That was the same day. And I made Nicole, I started falling asleep. She's like, "Are you sleeping?" And I was like, "No." It's like, I kind of, but just keep this on. I'm listening.
Yeah.
Just keep it on. You're working. You're not doing anything. Just keep this on. And she's like, whatever, like annoyed while she's doing her work that she has to. And of course, I just popped up at 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and watched the entire down the stretch minutes that only counted. So it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was like the greatest rest of my life. So, but I'm just like in and out, in pain, like still breathing real weird. My nose is completely clogged from all the smog and the allergies, and my face feels like it's being fucking attacked. And then I like fall asleep finally after the game. And at 2 a.m., my ankle seized like Conor McGregor's.
What?
Like it just turned and stayed there. And my foot cramped to the level where I couldn't, like, I was like, no. And I woke up and Nicole's like, what? And I'm like, no. And she's like, what's going on? I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, oh. And I'm like stomping the ground with my foot. And I'm freezing and in a cold sweat. So I'm like, do I have the fucking Delta variant? Like, did I get COVID? Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, oh, I'm shivering and I'm sweating and I'm stamping my foot and I'm trying to stretch it against. And she's like, what's going on with you? And I'm like, ah. And finally, like, wrestled it out of my body. And I lay down and at 2:30, my lat seizes up. So that just fucking, I'm literally like fighting assaults on my body all night. The fucking weather, the heat, I drank 15 gallons of water while we were there. That was the one smart thing I did.
Yeah.
But I didn't eat till 3 p.m. So I was there with no food. I just played the whole thing completely wrong. It was just an asinine decision through and through. And I spent the entire evening getting absolutely like attacked by ghosts.
Well, and to check that out, go to the Patreon.
Yeah, Mike Takes Edibles, episode 7 will be up very, very shortly. But I just saw the intro to it. It's fucking hilarious. We did such weird shit. I think I was so like cartoonish from the lack of oxygen for, that I think this might be, insane.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. I think you were just literally, like, I think if you weren't on edibles and were just outside, you would have
had a tough time
hallucinating because of just the smoke and everything.
Yeah, I got to tell you, though, I was dropping bombs.
Yeah.
Bombs. I mean, it was a fungo bat, no self-pitch, but it was bombs.
Well, that's it. Just kidding. We have a lot more.
I was like, what? I was like, oh, man, that went fast.
No, I don't know. I want to I'm like in the part where I'm finally getting back into working out. So I'm getting very excited about that kind of stuff, but I have to temper my expectations because I can't, like I've just started doing resistance band stuff again, but then I'm like, oh, let me try 2 bands. And then you just go like 1 rep too many and you're like, no. It just is like, all right, that aches.
Oh, speaking of wives that say a hurtful thing to us that they meant positively, Nicole, the other day, last night actually, so I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm in bed and I'm talking about all the injuries that I'm having and how my body hurts. And she's like telling me to take it easy, doing Mike Takes Edibles. And I'm like, oh man, it's for the love of the game. And she's like, you should start doing the resistance bands again.
Oh,
like, should I? And she's like, well, like you're doing the Peloton a lot. She's like, you're so skinny. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, no, your arms are usually big. They're like skinny. I'm like, what are you doing? Each one is worse than the prior.
That's what we do to Evan Williams to hurt his feelings.
Yeah, and she's like saying it as the woman that loves me the most. And I'm just like, do I need to remind you of who's physically superior? Because I'll beat you up right now and show you how fucking tough these arms really are.
She just puts you in an arm bar. You're like, okay.
She'd probably absolutely demolish me right now. She's wildly in shape.
Yeah, part of me is like, I should, I think it's just too late in my life to learn any sort of, learn how to stretch, boxing, Muay Thai, all the fight stuff. It's like,
I don't think it is.
I mean, Bourdain got into it real hard. And
Harrington is a 65-year-old homeless man. He's learned how to
Harrington's always been into it. You just maybe, when did you start actually doing it?
I mean, 18 months ago.
And how old are you?
I'm 33.
Oh, okay.
Same age.
Wow.
Are you 33?
I'm 33. Wow.
I guarantee.
We look very different.
All right. That is such an interesting study on how time affects us all.
All right. Uncalled for.
Man, I mean, maybe it's 18 months of that has aged him rapidly.
No, you looked worse before you started. Now you're looking good.
Yeah, I've always looked a decade older than you, Feeney.
Yeah, that is wild.
Were you an old looking child?
No.
You ever see those kids that sometimes you're like, what's happening? Like there's an old man in there. Like I understand that this is a baby, but there's an old man's face right underneath that baby face.
Yeah.
That's typically from old cum.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's aged, non-chilled cum.
I just, if you've got cum sitting in balls for 60 years, that kid's going to come out kind of fucked up.
That's a good point.
Makes sense.
See, I thought it would just keep things fresh.
I'm glad I turned my mic on for this.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously though, if you go to Diego for 6 months, you will 100% Feeney have like decent, if not good boxing.
But don't I have to like start getting like punched and cauliflower ear and like my shin's gonna be bruised?
That's at your discretion.
Yeah.
He's not. You don't have to.
I don't want to
spar.
learn like I don't want to have to be like mat rolling and
No.
getting like choked out.
I was taking Muay Thai, but I was taking like a technique class where there was no opponent.
just a heavy bag.
So it was all bag. Well, it was
heavy bags also
It wasn't a heavy bag. It was called something, and it had a lot of give to it, and it was attached to the floor and the ceiling, and you just kind of lace it up, and it would move with your punches a little bit, and you wouldn't hurt yourself at all. But it was all about like endurance, and then you control the force in which you hit. So if you want to just like pepper shit and not even like give it any type of oomph, you could just do it like you're basically jump roping with your fists.
I'm also bad at jump roping.
I just look at what, I mean, Joe List shows up, right? He trains with Diego and he doesn't spar or anything like that. It's just straight bag work and pad work, just like getting.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
I think
I don't see Joe and I'm like, God, that's a goddamn warrior walking around.
But I do. But Joe's a good athlete, and I've talked to him about this. And part of him, like when you get there, you want to spar. Like it's a part of you where you're like, my hands are getting a little okay. Like let's see. That's always what happens to somebody when they're like, I box, and it's like, do you spar? And they're like, no. And you're like, you don't box. You know how to punch, but you don't box. You've never been hit. You don't know how to react to a fucking hit. You just know how to aerobics.
Yeah, I don't want to get my bell rung to be like, now I know how to do this in case I get hit again at 43. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I think at this point I've pretty much successfully evaded almost all like physical fights as an
you've been
adult.
punched in the face, though, right?
Not as a 18 plus adult. And,
No shit.
And if I have, it's been in a mosh pit. And it's never been like a square up thing. Dude.
No shit.
I am one of the best social manipulators of a person who's trying to fight me you'll ever fight. I have like a that sort of Jedi mind shit where I can like
you can convince them that they've already fought you.
I can either mentally tear them down or kind of like if you just turn it, and this is a little bit of the page out of the Nick Turner book where if that guy if I was in Harrington's situation, right? First off, I'm with the shoulder. I'm not fighting this guy. You know, if that guy came up to me and was doing that, I would do the one of two things. Like I said, I would either puncture the pike tire and be like, now neither of us get it, or I would so quickly turn it and like kind of be laughing at the guy, being like, you're gonna fight me over like listen to yourself. Like I would be not even like a voice of reason, like we don't need to do this, more just like, dude, you're embarrassing yourself. Look at the people around filming you, like you're embarrassing yourself right now. And then which of course can lead that to them escalate even more. But then once they do it, they're like, it's planted in there. That self-consciousness, whether that starts out as the thing.
The fact that cameras are out is in the back of their head.
Yeah, now they're like, well, then I'll fuck you up in front of everybody. And you're like, are you going to? Because my hands are down, dude. Like, what are you going to do? And then they're like, fuck, well, you're fucking puss. They can just say this shit and you're like, whatever, dude. Yeah. You're embarrassing yourself.
That's the thing, is mine doesn't get to talking often. Like, at least like that situation specifically. So if that guy... Well, if he put his hand on me or the bike or anything like that and was physically blocking
going
me
head to head would be a different.
It wouldn't have gotten there. We would have fought before. Because, and I'm not saying you're a pussy, Harrington. Obviously, you handled the situation better than I would have. I'm saying if he put his hand on me or blocked the thing, I'm grabbing him by the shirt and dragging him over the bike, and I'm putting my knee on his throat. Like I just know, or trying.
It
like,
is fun to see how humans would interact in each situation, right? So we know what Harrington did with trying to move the hand away. We know what you would have done with ripping over the thing, and what I would have done would have just been like, now the game is not. My game immediately turns, because again, it's like instead of physical altercation, my day turns from, it's not about, and I said this on my album, it's like, it's not about me winning, it's about you losing. Yeah. And if I have to ruin this thing so you don't win, I win that
Oh,
way.
yeah. I would set the bike on fire.
Yeah,
too.
like that
Yeah.
is that determined. Like, I will ruin this for both of us, and because I'm doing it, I'm winning that. Like,
Yeah.
that's a way for me to be like, now we both don't get it, so fuck you.
I would also be like, take out my phone and be like, hope you've heard of the fat Jewish. Start recording and be like, that's me. Lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Now you're famous.
Yeah, and also I've been
here's a
toying,
career.
I've been toying around with this thing of just kind of impersonating an officer a lot, which again I understand is a felony, but I'm not pulling people over. But I will say I do kind of carry myself. Especially in a situation where there might be some squirrely atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, you're walking around going, hey!
Yeah, I'm kind of making like a kind of a thing where if someone does try to fuck with me, like I can get 4 or 5 steps into alluding to the fact that I am an undercover cop.
Yeah.
Whether I have, especially if I'm, have the badge on my leg that's out, you know what I'm saying? The mustache. It's kind of all lending to this thing. I might get a fake police badge. I might get a fake like wallet flip open thing because
You don't need that, dude. All you need is a shirt with a backwards American flag on the sleeve.
Yeah.
And you're already Officer Feeney.
Because that dude,
Yeah.
if I just have that, because that to me, listen, I get it's a felony because it could be used in negative ways, but as a self-defense technique, I think impersonating an officer is one of the best things that you can do because if someone tries, like, again, we go back to the bike situation with Harrington. That guy tries to cover it, and I just go, yo, do you really want to fucking do this right now, man? And then you just hold up, you flash a badge. What are they going to do? Fight a cop? No. Are they going to be like, what's your badge number and precinct? I'm going to call. Like, very rarely are they going to do that.
And also go 73rd, Feeney,
Yeah.
officer,
Look
suck
me up.
my dick.
Look me up.
Suck my fucking dick.
321-687.
I'm off duty.
Go.
You don't need to know nothing about it. Do you want to fight a cop, though?
Go. Yeah. Buddy, I'm not fighting you, but I can have 10 people here in a second to arrest you if you want. And then just whose bluff is going to happen? And then what do we do? How many people are willing to see that through on the chance that I am a liar of epic proportions talking into my shoulder? I got a 118 on 5'6". I mean, the level, if you want to get crazy.
Imagine he's like, I'm a cop. And he starts doing it. You're just doing that cop off.
Now, that is my biggest fear, is me puffing up to an actual cop. But I can tell an actual cop when I see one because they have much better shoulders. They're very broad.
But you're like, come on, back up. He's like, okay, come on, back up.
Yeah. His backup's on the way. Better hurry up. Send the reinforcements. You're talking into the wrong shoulder. You're like, oh, sorry. So this one.
That's when you want to make your Irish goodbye.